Good morning. I wanted to take a few moments this morning, to talk with you a little bit about the question, is there a place for emotional religion in the progressive church? I guess in order to begin that discussion, I would have to define, at least from my perspective, what I believe is primary religious experience, which sounds like a pretty technical, maybe even an intimidating term. But primary religious experience, in my own personal experience, is having a sense of the divine human encounter, having a sense that God is present, that God is near, and that somehow, in some way, we're in touch. I can tell you that it would be what I claim under the category of mystical experience. When I was 20 years old, I had a Baptist uncle who led me into a conversion experience with Jesus Christ. And like is written in many testimonies, I felt the lifting of a weight, I felt euphoria, and I actually felt the call to the ministry the following day as I was reading the Bible flying home to Arizona from the state of Washington. Fast forward to the 1990s, I believe it was, and while I was working on my doctorate, I had a place on Cape Cod, and I was meditating 3-4 hours a day as the function of a meditation class I was taking in my own personal practice. One day, as I was meditating on the Cape, I felt a deep silence within me, and it was like there was an orb, a dark orb, and I was experiencing in that moment perfect silence and perfect peace. And on reflection, one of the most amazing things about it was that it was cut out of the exact same fabric as my original conversion experience at the age of 20. After many, many years later. Is it possible for us to have emotional, divine, human encounter within the context of a mainline progressive denomination that believes that God loves everyone and no one's going to be left out? Well, let's fast forward a bit to our denomination today. The UCC in particular and the mainline denominations in general, we're having a terribly difficult time retaining our youth. We find that they grow up in our church, if they're in our church at all, and as soon as they're confirmed, they're gone. And a lower and lower percentage of them are returning in later life. It's as though we don't have enough temperature, body temperature, to be infectious. We are equally unsuccessful at recruiting youth. And in our congregations, UCC, mainline, progressive denominations, there is a problematic lack of urgency, lack of excitement, lack of energy. How do we overcome that? I believe it's overcome by primary religious experience, by a piece of the mystical entering into our lives. The question is that possible in a progressive and, oh my God, forgive me, liberal church? And I am both progressive and liberal. I believe there's no theological reason why not. Because I believe that we can encounter God in this life in, like the Celts talked about, thin places where the human and the divine draw close together. That doesn't take us backwards. I do not believe that the mystical is any threat to the rational. I do not believe that there are any good reasons for us to run away from the mystical simply because someone might think we're more conservative or more evangelical. On the contrary, I would say that we need to reclaim the language and the vocabulary that allows for us to discuss with one another the possibility that God can be impacted impacting our lives, even as we speak. I believe it's imperative, even critical, for the future of our denomination and for our understanding of theology. I hope in the days ahead you will join me in that conversation, in particular after church on Sundays as we gather together at Bucky's Lounge, or Bucky's Grill over there at Beatitudes campus at 11 o'clock. Hope to see you there. Hope to see you in church. God bless.